Hey everybody, this is Corey Salty True Floyd, and this is the Amerime Junkies podcast. Today we're sitting in and talking Adventure Bros cosplay. It's going to be a real good time here at the Amerime Junkies podcast. And we're back. This is the Amerime Junkies podcast. I'm Corey Salty True Floyd, and of course, right here next to me is the boss, the comic boss.
What's up, everybody? It's your favorite podcaster, aka Comic Balls, aka Lord Otaku, aka Mr. AKA. I'm excited about this one. I've been following Venture Bros for a while now. I've been following y'all for a minute, so I'm excited to
Yeah,
have
and today's guest, Venture Bros.
Hey, it was good. It was good. Hey, I appreciate you following me, man. You
Yeah,
know,
man. We have been following y'all for a while, so it's just excited to have y'all on.
hey, excited to be here. You know what I'm saying?
We were at HBCU Con, but we never got a chance to actually see you.
So I actually didn't. I wasn't able to make it.
I'm
Oh,
about to say,
okay.
wait a minute.
Guest
Because I swear.
yeah. My daughter, she got sick. So I
Mm,
was, so I wasn't able to make it.
okay.
hmm
Because I remember doing a promo joint for you, and I was like, oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
Well, Venture Bros, you're a
what's good?
cosplayer. You're definitely a Lord of the Memes.
Definitely,
Yeah, yeah.
definitely.
It's funny because like a lot of people, if they don't follow me on like, let's say, if they don't follow my Facebook, which is the biggest platform I have, they didn't necessarily know about the meme side the first couple of years.
Mm,
So, because yeah, my Facebook that's been at 75,000 followers for a minute. But a lot of people, if they follow me on like IG or TikTok, they know about the memes until like 2023.
Yeah,
So
that was
they didn't
me.
know, yeah, they didn't know like that big meme and content creator side. They just knew about like Venture Bros cosplay.
Yeah,
okay.
that was me.
Mhm.
I followed you from IG, so all I knew about was your cosplay. Right
All
up
I knew,
until recently, that
I
uh
knew
that
about you from here. So
that I connected with your page from I connected with your page through our page on Facebook. Then I started seeing
Mhm.
all the memes and stuff pop up. And,
Yeah, yeah.
and you had did one recently with Scissor
Oh yeah, yeah, the one with Omni
dressed as
Man.
an alien.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
hmm
It was perfect because I was like, we had Omni Man. He gets married to his second wife, who was,
Mhm.
the bug alien woman. And then SZA did that, kind of like outfit for her new video, that Saturn
right.
video coming out. So, SZA thick as hell. So when she did that bug, I was like, oh, I see what Omni Man talking about. I see what got him. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, yeah, I gotta make this into a meme.
All
And
right.
then you was like, I don't want to hear none of y'all saying I would or I could. I definitely would.
I
I
knew,
definitely
bro. I
get my
already.
Omni Man
I'm
on.
like, yo, I'm about to get 100 comments saying wood. So I'm like, let me just say this right now. I'm like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. But nah. Everybody was like, it was like wood.
Would.
To all
So
the
Mhm.
big alien women out there, to let you know you got a home here on Earth.
Right. Earth welcomes you.
well, I always like to start these off with one of my personal favorite questions. When did you realize you were a nerd?
Oh man, I've been a nerd as far back as I can remember. Cause like, so I didn't have the same upbringing like a lot of nerds. Like basically, and I say this to a lot of people in Chicago, in the hood of Chicago, you ain't gonna find a nigga that ain't watched Dragon Ball Z. You ain't gonna find a nigga who didn't play Mario or you know what I'm saying, like didn't play Street Fighter. So it's like stuff that nerds did. Like I've been doing that my whole life, and my mom's she's really the one who got me, my brothers, and my sister to fuck with like fantasy stuff because my mom was like big on like Excalibur. She had read Game of Thrones when Game of Thrones was just a book series. So my mom, she was on all that, and she a Chicago cop. So she was all about that warrior life.
Right.
So shit, as kids, we was always on it just simply because that's how my mom's got down. She was on fantasy and like watching nights and shit and all that. So we was naturally on that. So when it came to like anime got so many fantasy series, it just automatically resonated with us.
Nice.
Spider-Man, that was everybody resonated with Spider-Man. X-Men, that's why it's beautiful for me to see like my nieces and nephews watch X-Men 97 because they young. Because as a kid, shit, when X-Men, that old cartoons come on, we was all on it. So shit, I knew I was a nerd since like
Hmm.
fucking 5. You know?
It was kind of the same way with me. I don't know about Corey, but my mom grew up in sci-fi, so my mom is a Trekkie.
Oh, okay,
So
Trekkie.
she watched every single Star Trek series to date. Everyone that new come out on Paramount, she watched them all, and
I mean,
and she went to fantasy too.
y'all do y'all fuck with the one with Michaels?
The black woman, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I be trying to put people on to support that
Yeah.
black woman. I'm like, look, we got a black captain.
Listen,
Come on, support her, man. That series is
This
so
the last
good.
season
But
for them.
people don't want to fuck with it.
Yeah, this the last
listen.
season. She
Between
hit the 5 mile mark and she done.
Yep. Hmm.
between her and Doug Jones, I was already invested because I was like, all right, because like I loved her on The Walking Dead, and then when I was like,
Yeah.
wait, Star Trek Discovery,
Oh
you
yeah, yeah.
Captain?
Yep.
That's you?
Yep.
All right.
And I
And then
love the fact. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
and then when I saw the first episode and saw Doug Jones' character, I was like, all right, I'm in because I gotta support her and I gotta support Doug, so I'm here.
Shout out to Doug Jones, yo. He always shouting us out on Instagram too.
Right.
Oh, for real? Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah,
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 cause like
she
like that series. First, I like the fact that she was raised by Vulcans or kind of trained by Vulcans, because I was like, okay, we've never really seen a human trained by Vulcans or anything like that. So I like that. And then what definitely like hooked me on it was the whole Talon side. Like that
mm,
Karen side, like that, the
yeah.
whole alternate universe, like that
Mm,
got me. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, okay, so if if basically what you're saying is in the alternate universe, Starfleet just took over every planet, like
mm-hmm.
shit.
hmm
So I was fucking with that aspect
It's
of it
Starfleet would have
too.
definitely
been was more
it's definitely feasible.
militaristic.
Hmm.
It's definitely feasible. And I always thought Star Trek was military. They went under the guise of like exploration and science, but they ran around with some of the biggest weapons.
They know they
Mm.
did. That's what That's what even though that third Star Trek movie that of the rebooted series didn't do
Yeah,
well with Idris Elba, that's what
yeah,
Idris Elba character was tripping about. He was like, "Yo,
Mhm.
you out here fucking with the
yeah,
Klingons and the Romulans, being cool with
yeah.
them? Like, no, nigga, they killed like millions of people. We can't be cool with them." So you saw where he was coming from. Like, oh, this is back in the when the Starfleet had to fight people, like for
Yeah,
real, for real. You know what I'm saying? So, but now, it's more of the exploration side, like, oh, we're explorers, we're to bring peace to the galaxy.
like bro, we moved past that.
Right, right, right. Because that matter of
But
fact, I think that's what Chris Pine tried to tell him. He said, no, what you did paid off. We have peace now. But Idris Elba was like, no, fuck
The
peace,
war
nigga.
never end. The war
Yeah,
never ended.
yeah. The war never ended for him. Yeah.
no, fuck peace.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Star
Yeah,
Trek. I think that's the difference between Star Trek and Star Wars. When Star Wars, because I'm a huge Star Wars fan too, but Star Wars, I feel like that's good versus evil. Just straight up. But with
yeah,
Star Trek, that's more of a socialist party type of view where you have to see like politics. You see social trends among societies and how people would maneuver like actual real life. Because actual
yeah,
real life, you don't just got good and evil. It's good on evil
yeah.
on both sides.
The
So
line, the line is definitely gray at that point.
right, right. So I think Star Trek did a good way of always showing like, okay, you're gonna have fucked up people in Starfleet. You're gonna have fucked up people like, well, I mean, the Borg's pretty much always evil, but with
yeah.
every other race they deal with, pretty much, you gotta kind of politic your way with it too. You just can't destroy them or beat their army and start telling them what to do.
Right.
You know,
because most of the time you can't beat their army.
right? Not
Right.
not
That's one
not
thing
without
I
like mass
love.
casualty. You know, it's gonna be mass casualty. You know,
Yeah.
Cleons are the knuck if you buck type people.
yeah. They'll die before they get like enslaved or something. They'll all die. You know,
Yeah. Like Starfleet, even though it was like a coalition, like they wasn't the strongest.
no,
They was
no,
like
not
they
even
was like
close.
an even kill with every other powerful like race out there.
The Starfleet, their advantage was Starfleet was cool with the Vulcans. So it's like they got an alliance going. So if you got to fuck with Starfleet, the Vulcans are going to come help if it gets too bad.
Right.
And
Right.
then after that's how it kind of started. But after a while, that's when Starfleet started getting like alliances with other planets. The next thing you know, that coalition turned out to be like 100 planets.
Yeah.
So now it's like you got Starfleet, but now they got a ton of alliances.
Mm-hmm.
So whereas like the Cleons, usually the Cleons they just riding for the Cleons, you
Cleons.
know, or the Romulans they just fucking with the Romulans. Ain't no alliances going, you know, and that's where they would always lose to kind, well not lose, but kind of be like, okay, we can't go all out war with Starfleet,
Right.
Right.
you know.
But
Mhm.
even in Picard universe, he was able to bring the Romulans under Starfleet at the end.
Oh, okay, I didn't realize that. Okay, I think
Yeah.
I think once they saw the threat of the Borg, I think it was like, look, we don't
Yeah.
got time for this
But
like petty shit. Like
nobody
we
picked
can
up.
we gotta team up, like, cause this shit out there. Cause Q told him, Q was like, look, it's shit out in this universe that you're not ready for. And
Mm.
Picard, you know, was a little arrogant and was like, we'll figure out a way
Mm-hmm.
to defeat anything. That's what Q was like, really.
All right.
It is snapped his finger. That's what they was in that Borg universe. I was like, oh shit. I was like, they got space zombies out here? No, nigga. No.
Shout out to shout out to Q, man. He was a real one throughout the entire series.
Yo,
Q
Q.
was definitely one of my favorite characters
Yeah.
out of all the Star Trek.
I hated Q, but after the scene, no, I hated Q. But then when I saw how intrigued he was with Data, I was like, all right, because it's
Because
like, because he'd
I don't
always
think
just
Q
look
could
at
really
Data like
fathom it.
he's just like, you want to be human? Why?
Because Q couldn't fathom it. He's like, you want to be able to get sick, you want to be able
Right.
to get old and die. Like
Right.
you're pretty much the perfect being. Why would you want that? You
Right.
know. So Q was just so intrigued by that shit. You know.
All right, so you also said you like Star Wars. Have you watched the Acolyte show yet?
Yeah. So I'm not really feeling the acolyte. You know, like I'm not gonna bash it like a lot of the podcasters are doing, or a lot of like the YouTube reviewers are doing. I'm not
Hmm.
gonna bash it, but I do think they're getting away from the core of Star Wars, and with these new writers, and even though like the witches are canon, they are part of Star Wars,
Yeah,
and like I get that, but I think the thing is, if you're creating a show, you've got to try to grab certain audiences. You're not gonna grab the Star Wars fan base by like including just the witches. Like you always gonna need a Sith. You know, there's always got to be a Sith involved for it to really be like problematic for people to really want to tune in. And then like they're not following the canon of what they're doing in other shows. So you see in other shows, right? Like take the Ahsoka show. Her apprentice, old girl that's her apprentice, gets stabbed in the chest with a lightsaber, right? She
Right.
hmm.
survives. But in Acolyte, old girl gets shot in the chest with a dart and dies. I'm like, but she's a Jedi.
Oh
She
no, that was a
Jedi,
knife.
right? Why is she getting shanked up? And she's a Jedi. Literally, you should be a Jedi. Should be able to sense and feel. First of all, Jedi's can see like small bits of the future. That was the whole reason why they give that test they gave to Anakin.
Shatterpoint.
You know, right? Exactly. And then they could feel your emotion. They could feel what you're trying to do. It was like none of that shit was happening during that fight. And
Mm.
old girl was caught off guard. And then again, we got to think about marketing. You can't have Trinity from the Matrix in a show for 5 fucking minutes. and then have her
Yes, you
killed off in the
can.
first episode. You can't do
Yep.
that. Not if
Yes,
you
you
want to
can.
grab. Not if you want
I
to
li-
grab normies. That's why
I
it fell
lived
off.
I lived I live in a world I lived in a world where everyone broke their neck to go see Stomp the Yard because they swore Chris Brown was gonna be all up in this movie.
But
That
but
mother
but and what'd you have? Chris Brown died early in the beginning. Then you got fucking Megan Good finance throughout the rest of the movie. Then you got old boy what you call it short, who's
Yeah,
super
number
fucking
short.
ripped back then. He was mad ripped back then. So you got him out here dancing, going shirtless. The women are attracted to that. The dudes are attracted to Megan Good. You still got the whole HBCU feel to the fucking movie. That's why people stay tuned into it. Even though a lot of people were salty about Chris Brown's death, it was other elements that still pulled them in. Acolyte, it's not the same type of boat. Because if they still had certain elements, like I said earlier, like a Sith, they
they
had a
did
Sith
show a
in there.
Sith at the end of episode 1. We just don't know who he is.
Sith-ish.
A
Sip-ish.
red
Yeah.
lightsaber.
Sip-ish.
He's dressed in all black with a red lightsaber.
But see, that's the thing, right? Like he pulled out
Like,
his lightsaber, right? Right? Like that doesn't even make sense though. Why did he even pull out his lightsaber?
to show where he was in a position of power compared to his acolyte.
Why would you need to pull out a lightsaber to show that? What's it? Just think. Would the Emperor ever pull out his lightsaber? We never saw him in the original series pull out his lightsaber. In the
That's because
original
he
trilogy.
uses lightning.
But right. But that's the
He
point.
just
Why would he didn't pull out lightning until he decided to fuck Luke up. Because Darth Vader wouldn't. Because Luke beat Darth Vader. But you'll never see somebody like Palpatine need to flex like that. Because like, why would he? If you think, remember that movie, Solo. Remember at the end when Darth Maul showed his face? It's like, oh, it's Darth Maul. Then he like used the Force and got his like little, double-sided lightsaber, and then he activated it. Why would you need to activate that shit and you're on like basically a phone call?
because that was literally for the audience.
Right. Just
That's the
like
only
in
reason.
Acolyte. Him
Yeah.
showing that lightsaber was just for the audience. So now Star Wars fans and other fans are like, well, why did he even pull out his lightsaber? That's like watching a gangster movie and like or watching a gangster show and the nigga pulls out a gun doing like a phone call and like just holds a gun. You'd be like, what's he doing? See, it's little nuances like that people hone in on. And if you don't have enough pluses, like good things in that show to grab people, they're gonna pay attention to those little fuck ups and nuances
Those
instead of the
flaws.
good things. Because there's not a lot of great things going down to where it's like, oh, this is taking the attention.
Right.
So that's the thing about Acolyte. Now, I'm not necessarily bashing Acolyte because I think it does have potential. But I think the way they kind of went about it is definitely going away from the normal Star Wars thing, which a lot of the Star Wars fans we see historically, they just don't like that. They don't like when you go away from the canon or go away from like the main story tropes.
I think it's time to do that, though. I mean,
Yes.
the main story trope is the Skywalker saga, and me and Corey talk about that. I,
And the
for one, am
Skywalker
tired
saga
of the
overall
Skywalker.
is trash.
But you gotta look at it like this though. We gotta look at historically, right? They tried to go away from it with The Last Jedi,
Right.
and people fucking hated The Last Jedi.
Here, okay, wait. I hear
You
Clearly
what
know
you're
what
not.
I'm
saying,
saying?
and here no go because there's a there that whole trilogy itself was poorly conceived. They didn't, and this is one of the reasons why I have issues with J.J. Abrams. Because
Yeah.
Yo,
here's the thing. Ryan Johnson is a very competent director,
Right.
but when you only give him one film and it's attached to something someone else started, it's
Yeah.
just like he's gonna do his own thing.
You
That's
can't
what he
have different
does.
directors in the middle of a trilogy. Yeah, that was the biggest fuck up when
J.J.
they switched.
Abrams is horrible at following through with his projects.
Yeah.
He did Force Awakens where it was just like, okay, we're gonna do everything from A New Hope, but slightly bigger and slightly different.
Right.
It's like, okay, original idea. Then Ryan Johnson steps in. who had some interesting ideas. It's just that the setup for them were never there.
Well, but let's be honest. Let's be honest. He tried to change the whole story point of Finn. You can't have a
Yeah,
main character and then all of a sudden you try to cater to a white audience and then you change the story up.
Well,
yeah,
Because
no,
like literally
that was
him
a mandate. He was actually stuck with that.
he
That
should have
wasn't
he
his
should have tried to
choice.
change it. Because check this out. We all know that from the first movie, from Force Awakens,
Oh yeah.
that Finn was definitely gonna be a Jedi. We knew
yep,
that
Yep.
Finn was definitely gonna be with Rey.
right,
Yep.
They
right, right.
completely threw that aspect away. And no offense to old girl who, was in the movie, but really, you gonna stick Finn with her the whole movie and then make her his love interest, and then he's not even force sensitive or nothing? Like they completely canned his character. They made him Jar Jar Binks. That's why
They
Jonathan Boyega was so pissed
Definitely,
off.
definitely.
yeah.
So
And he
I
he
feel
had
like I feel
every
like
right to be.
yeah. So I feel like when those things change, you completely change the format of the movie. You made things that people were looking forward to, and you tried to cater to a certain demographic because they didn't like the direction, and then boom, now you're going a total different direction, which threw mad people off. It split the
Yeah,
fan base.
yeah.
Because it was just
You
like
know,
something the Emperor's returned. I'm like, wait, what? Y'all really just yada 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 Palpatine's back.
and I hated that so much because I'm like, yo, that takes away from Darth Vader killing this nigga. Like that was a big deal. Darth Vader
Yeah,
clapping Palpatine. Now all
yeah,
of a sudden you got it. Palpatine beat death. Like no man, come on.
Because
Like
then
that.
it's a lot of that falls on J.J. Abrams
Yeah,
because
yeah, I agree. Yeah,
like if he had actually wrote out an entire three movies before just started making the first one, it's like you got to have steps. Like
yeah,
even
yeah,
like
yeah,
even the prequel series, it was already like he had it written out.
yeah. George already wrote them out. Yeah.
So it was so we could see all the steps. It was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, here it was like, all right, a lot of the first movie, the second movie, I'm like, you're doing a lot of different things. Some of them are
Right.
cool. Some of them are cool. Some of them are not. Then the third movie, I'm just like, all right, can we just finish this now?
Yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
it's giving. I'm getting confused.
right.
Exactly. Because it just, and then he had all those damn shit Star Destroyers, and I'm just like,
Where it
Yeah,
how
come
would
from?
they have been able to hide that?
Right,
yada
How?
yada yada.
right.
Yeah. So Star Wars has definitely been a struggling IP for I want to say the past decade, and I feel like if Lucas had had more involvement, maybe it could have been better. You know, but
George. Mm, mm.
he married that black woman, man. He started paying all that money.
Uh
She
huh.
said, she said,
George
you
was
got 10 Star Wars, you ain't got one Red Tails. You ain't got no movie about it. Because a lot of people don't realize for Red Tails, that
the
Tuskegee
tails.
movie,
Yeah.
he had to pay his own money.
Yep.
They didn't back that movie. Like the
Nope.
studios did not back financially that
Oh, wow.
movie. So
I know
George
that.
had to use his own money. And
He
it's
got
sad
the
to
money
say,
though.
I mean, we didn't really support that movie that greatly in theaters. It didn't do that well.
It
It
was
did
a
not.
You know?
it was definitely a different time with our black media consumption back then.
Yeah, yeah. Because the thing,
It
yeah, you're right. Because the
it
so
was not nuanced at all. Like
yeah.
we pigeonholed ourselves a lot in media, and
Hmm.
right now we're trying to find a balance now.
Yeah.
And yeah, because I was
Okay.
all for Red Tails,
Yeah, I
and
was all hyped. I was all hyped because I like the first Tuskegee movie. So when they said that, Cuba was
the
coming
one-
back and Terrence Howard was gonna be in, I was like, okay, okay.
but then it's funny because I remember renting that movie for me and my girl at the time, and she was like, "I
Mhm.
don't watch this shit." I was like, "Well, I'm gonna watch it."
Damn. Cause yeah, man, cause I was in the Air Force at that time too. So I was like, yo, shit, me and a lot of my boys went to see it. But
Yeah, I was about to
you
say, I'm
know,
pretty sure y'all definitely went to go see it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because back then I was just a lieutenant when I went to see it, but I was hyping it up to everybody. I was like, this is Black History right here. I wouldn't be in the Air Force right now if it wasn't for them Tuskegee boys. So shit.
Mhm. Uh,
Hmm.
what what's another one of your favorite childhood cartoons?
Um.
I say another
Well,
because you already brought up X Men.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, X-Men, Spider-Man. Um. I used to fuck with Reboot. I used to fuck with
Ooh, good
Do
shit.
y'all remember Reboot? That was
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
that was
Hexa
kind of throwback.
Hexadecimal, Megabyte,
Yeah, yeah,
Bob,
yeah. Megabyte.
Enzo, Hack
Yeah.
and Slash,
Yep.
in incoming game.
Right.
Yeah.
Incoming game. So let me think. I fucked with that. Um,
I
I
didn't
like
know
Beast
until
Wars.
recently that was from Canada.
Really?
Yeah, that was a Canadian 3D show.
Wow, I did not know
Yeah,
that. That's crazy. Yeah, I did not know it was from
that's what
Canada.
Drake was watching.
Shit. Let me think. Yeah, Aubrey, good old Aubrey.
Are,
Let me think. Who else was I fucking with back then? Shit.
are you a father by
I
chance?
watched. Huh?
Are you a father by chance?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. My daughter, she's 15.
Hey, dang.
Woo!
Happy
Mm-hmm.
Happy
Father's Day.
birthday.
Bad as
Happy
hell.
Father's Day, sir.
Oh, appreciate it. Appreciate it. Yep.
Mm-mm-mm.
So she gave me a call this morning because she's actually her mom married another military member. So they're stationed out in England right now. So
Oh,
she had video chatted me for like an hour earlier. You know.
okay, okay.
So I,
Shoot.
Hmm.
I wanted to so usually around this time we do a Father's Day podcast. But
Okay.
since we got you, we're gonna incorporate you into that podcast. All right.
Oh,
So
okay, okay.
who do you think is the best father in anime?
The best father in anime. Damn, that's a hard one.
Cause usually people say Piccolo or some other character.
Man, I ain't gonna give it to Piccolo, man. He don't
I
count.
I want to go off the reservation this year. And I
Oh
want
shit!
to say it's gonna be all shit too. Yuji Rohama.
Really though?
Nah, man, that's like raising a pit bull. He was over
That's
there
exactly what he did.
jacking them boys up,
He
man.
gave, he gave Jack and Baki something to strive for. After he killed him.
What if they want to be fighters, man? What if,
That that was abuse, sir. That's
yeah, yeah,
abuse.
yeah, for real.
I
What
mean,
if they
after
want
he
to be
killed
fighters?
Baki mom, but I mean that's how
Call
most foreign families
call
is.
CPS.
You never follow into your father's footsteps.
But you should have the option. They ain't had no option.
Yeah,
It was
there
like
wasn't a
sink or
choice.
swim,
So
nigga. Put them
so
hands
listen,
up.
so listen. I used to work at a like a luxury condo, right?
Uh huh.
And and we had these two Indian girls there, right? And they was both doctors, right?
Uh huh.
So I was like, "What made you want to be doctor?" They're like, "Cause they're a doctor." Like their father is like one of the top surgeons in our children's hospital down here in Philly. Like their
Hmm.
dad is like the man in CHOP Children's Hospital Philadelphia. So I like, you ain't no one be like, they ain't think else. They like, no,
You ain't had no
they just follow
choice.
following the family footsteps. It's not a choice. It's not a choice. I'm saying Baki and
Listen,
Jack did not have a choice.
It's a funny story. You know what? I
Indian
know a cat.
households don't be having no choice in their
Yeah,
future.
yeah. I was about to say I know
Exactly.
an Indian dude in the Air Force, man. He was a captain with me. He his dad, they were Indian, but he was raised in America.
Oh
So
God.
when he graduated high school, he told his dad, like, look, I don't think I'm ready to go to college. I don't know if I want to be a doctor like you and my brothers. I want to kind of find myself. So he was like, let me take you over to India to show you, kind of what our family went through to get us here. And so you could kind of see and, make your decision after that. So he said, okay. His dad took him over to India to the family over there. Then after the first day, he woke up, looked for his dad in his aunt's house. His dad was gone. His dad left his ass over in India.
Mhm.
Then he asked his aunt, like, "Okay, oh, I need to call my dad." She said you have to use the phone at the local store
Oh,
three blocks down. And then when he
Yo,
got back, she was like, "Well, since you're here, you have to work, and you have to work at the rice factory. That's the only place that'll hire you without experience. The rice factory are paying them like $8 an hour." He told me, and he said that's
yo.
hard ass labor. Like you're shoveling rice and filling up those bags all day. He said his back was burning, his arms were burning. He said after about 3 months of that shit, and he
med
finally called
school.
his dad and told him, like, look, I'll go to school. I
Med
understand what you
school is for
mean,
me.
you know. And that's how he ended up, saying going to college and shit. So they don't play over
So
there in India. It ain't no like
exactly,
discussion.
Yujiro said that these two little niggas is going to follow in my footsteps, and to remove all doubt, I'm going to kill their mothers.
But that's abuse though, man. You can't force him to fight. God damn, he
That's
was
abuse and that's a murder.
yeah, yeah. Shit for real. But no, okay, so the best dad in anime, I'll say I gotta go with Cyber from Food Wars.
He was a good dad.
He was a
He
good
was
dad.
an
He
amazing father.
raised them
He
ever
was
since
an
he was
amazing
a kid,
father.
always in his life, taught him all the tricks of the trade on how to cook, and that's why he got so cold. You know what I'm saying? So his dad was there until he sent them off to that school, you know.
Right, right.
So
His dad.
he was
Yeah,
actually a good anime dad.
he was. He was. He was an amazing father.
Hmm.
But one of my favorite scenes from Food Wars was the first season when he was overseas cooking, and then Monk walked in. He's like, "Yo, I want some of your food." And he's got like, "Yo, we fasting right now. You gotta eat." And he said that I denounce God at this moment. Took his robe off, and I like. I would never want to eat someone's food who's that good.
Who's that good?
Someone
Because
who makes you want to denounce God. I'm cool.
hmm his
I'm
food was
cool.
that good. Because when did y'all finish the series of Food Wars?
No, I didn't finish the
I
series.
I finally discovered where I can catch the last season, so do not spoil it.
Okay, okay. So this is before the last season. But
Okay.
what you find out is you find out Cyber's backstory. And you find out that the director that hates his son, the whole reason the director is like so hardcore was because of Cyber. Cyber was his best
Mm-hmm.
friend. Like that, Food Wars is whoever wrote Food Wars, the writing was really good because I was like,
Yeah, the
I
writing was
didn't see
actually
that
really
shit
good.
coming at all. But
Yeah.
yeah, he said it was because Cyber was such a good cook that when he joined the Blue League, he was so far ahead of everybody else. It was like walking in the desert by yourself chasing something that you could never get to
A
because he was that
mirage.
good. Yeah, there was never like an end point for him because the potential was just limitless. But that also burned him out because the only
Right.
person he could defeat was himself. He always had to come up with a better dish or this, that, and the third. And instead of the food world trying to help him, like rein him back a little bit, they just let him burn himself out.
Mm,
So who had master was like totally against like people coming up with their
right.
like I was like, okay, this series is actually the writing is fucking really damn good.
Hmm.
Because at first season one, you just think like, okay, this is just a bunch of ichi, you know. But
Right.
yeah, you're like, this is just a bunch of titties and shit. But after you start watching like seasons 2 and 3, you're like, okay, this is actually good writing too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
A lot that
Another series like that, High School
DxD.
DxD. That's
Yeah.
real good writing, but it's so much ichi in it, people don't like to pay attention. But
Right.
it's such a good writing, though. I'm like, yo, this shit will have you hooked on the writing aspect of what's going on, but it just show titties all the time, so that's what
The
people paying
the
attention to.
moment the sniper fired a shot and it went through the chick's titties, every little boy who's watching it lost their shit. Like this, I don't
That's
even know what
it.
to talk about it anymore. That's it. This right here is the only reason why I'm watching the show for the physics of the titties.
Now, the physics of the titties, for real, because even High School of the Dead was like dope as shit. But
Yeah,
like you said, that's all people pay attention to was that shotgun. You know
Yo,
what I'm saying? When he bounced on their titties and shot,
yeah.
that's all people paying attention to.
I remember trying to talk about high school DxD to somebody,
Mm-hmm.
and they came over to my house, and it was playing while I was in the kitchen. And I come in the living room. Of course, it's nothing but titties on the screen. I was like,
That's how it always is.
It
That's how
really
it
is. It
always
really
is.
is. That's the curse of anime, yo. Because you'll be like, damn, this is such a good show. You'll tell somebody about it. And there's just a bunch of titties pop up. And I'm like,
Yep,
okay, that's not what I meant.
yep. I be I be trying to get my wife to watch it sometimes. I like to sit down and watch this episode with me. And once you sit down, titties. I like I swear to God, this is not what this series is about. It's just anime. But it
Right.
got a really good story, I swear it does.
I'm telling you, like I told people, I was like, Food Wars so good, but you got to get past all the titties and stuff and all the like moaning and shit. But once you pass that, it's a great series.
Or
mm-hmm.
or the times when Soma makes his nasty peanut butter and octopus and it grabs one of the girls and I'm like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
and that's
Because
like the
they,
first 15 minutes of the first episode. I like, okay, it's what we going.
mhm. Because they toned it down, I want to say like around season 3. They toned the Ichi down a
Mm-hmm.
lot. But season 4, I think a lot of people complained about it because season 4 they picked right back up with it
It was
again.
like, bring it
I was
back,
like, yo, it was like bring
bring
them titties
the
back.
step back.
Venture.
Yes, sir.
Oh
Tell me
shit!
about the first time you went to a convention.
So my first time going to a convention was Dragon Con. So that's
Whew.
one of the
Wow,
biggest
that's your
conventions,
first
over
convention.
100,000 people. So I
Right.
went to it on accident. So basically, about 6 months before I went to Afghanistan, it was like my third deployment. Um, basically, your date to come back for your 30-day R&R before you get sent out for the next 6 months. So it's you'll do 6 months out there, come back for 30 days, and then you do another 6 months. So what I did was, since I was coming back around like Labor Day weekend, I was like, okay, what I'll do is I'll go ahead, book a room at the Marriott in Atlanta. And then me, my brother, my best friend, you know what I'm saying, we'll just, party in Atlanta while I'm back for a few days. So um yeah, I booked like 6 months in advance and came back from Afghanistan. We went down to Atlanta, went to the Marriott, we on the elevator, and next thing you know, it's motherfuckers dressed in cosplay. I was like, what the fuck is happening? So we in regular clothes. So they didn't think we was there for Dragon Con, which we weren't. But they definitely didn't think we were nerds either. So the dude
Mm.
on the elevator, he was dressed like the clown dude from Children's Hospital. So
Oh shit.
he was like, have you ever seen? I was like, Children's Hospital? And then he was like, yeah. And there was another dude in there dressed like Ruby Rod. And he was like, well, have you ever seen? He pointed at the dude. I was like, Fifth Element?
Fifth Element.
And then he was like, oh my God. He was like, you guys know these movies? I was like, yeah. I was like,
We
I know
nerd.
we're not dressed up like y'all, but shit, yeah, we know all
We
about it.
nerds too.
Right, we
Right.
know it too. So they were like, are you guys here for Dragon Con? I was like, what's Dragon Con? And they were like, oh man, you gotta come to the bar with us. So at the bottom of the Marriott, if you have been to Dragon Con, the bottom floor is a bar. It's a huge bar right there that's 24 hours. So like inside the building, like it's inside the hotel. So we went downstairs, went to the Marriott. Next thing I know, I'm chilling with Sailor Moon, Xena Warrior Princess. They telling me how they from England and shit, how they come to Dragon Con every year, how they fly to America just to come to Dragon Con, how Dragon Con's like this huge party con, all these celebrities. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, how did I never hear about these things?
Mm.
Like in Chicago, I never knew about C2E2, but come to find out, C2E2 is like the fifth biggest
Major,
con in the United States.
major,
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? So I'm like, how the fuck? But it shows you how separate the nerd space can be to like
Yeah,
other spaces,
yeah,
because I had never heard of C2E2.
yeah.
And so, like, yeah, in
Have you
Dragon
been
Con, yeah,
to it?
like I said, I never heard of it. But as soon as, we chilled with them, we bought badges and we chilled. We were doing everything that we can. You know what I'm
You
saying? And I
Mm.
was like, and, Dragon Con is exhausting as fuck because it's so much
yes.
to do.
That's what I was thinking.
You
Your
know,
first
I
con,
love
Drake.
how
yeah,
I
yeah,
love how your first con was one of the biggest cons,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it wasn't even planned.
It
He's the
wasn't even planned.
That's
Wasn't
a
even planned. You know what I'm
that's
saying?
crazy.
Me, my brother, the other Venture Bros, and my best friend, man. We were just like, damn. And that's when we saw, like, man, this cosplay thing seemed cool. Like shit, we might need to do this. But that's how we decided that we are going to start cosplaying and create the Venture Bros page because we saw like all the fun people were having and we want to join in that shit. So we were like, you know what? Maybe we should start cosplaying this shit. Now my
Okay.
brother, he started before I jumped on it. He had started for about 6 months, and then once I got out the military, that's when I started. But when I got out the military, that's when he got accepted into grad school. So
Mm.
that's when he left the grad school. So that's kind of how I ended up being like the front runner for Venture Bros because he, was working on his master's degree. So
Nice.
You had to be the front man for Venture Bros because your brother went on another venture.
facts. I mean, now I ain't gonna call it cheesy. That was a good play on words.
It was cheesy. It was cheesy.
You know what I'm
It
saying?
ain't it
The
ain't
bros,
easy
man. We
being
all about that
cheesy.
adventure life. The adventure life. Hey, the bros, man.
Do you have a favorite cosplay today?
Favorite is definitely Mario. That's my favorite.
Okay.
You a
Mario
swole
did go
ass
viral.
Mario.
Yeah, Buff
Oh,
Mario. Yeah. See, so once I first started cosplaying, I had weighed about 305 pounds. So I was much bigger. So especially like heavier. So even though I was buff, I was a thick buff because I was powerlifting back then too.
Hmm.
So and I started cosplaying in 2017. I won the Midwest Open in powerlifting 2019.
Hey.
So yeah, so I was like, buff and thick. So a lot of my followers back then I only had, I want to say 2019, I had like 3,000. So a lot of them were like, oh, cosplay Mario. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get to it. And I just had never got the chance. But after I won the Midwest Open, that's when I finally shaved. And I was like, since I shaved, I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to go ahead and do Mario. So that's when I did Mario, and what I'm saying, shit, that shit went viral as hell. But then at conventions, like I was just being buff, goofy Mario, just wilding out all the time. So shit, that's when it became just like, kind of the face of Venture Bros. And then that's when I kept doing it all the time and just having fun. So that's why Mario, I would say, was my favorite. Because I've done like maybe 12 different versions of Mario. So
Mm.
yeah, yeah, I would say definitely my favorite. Now, my favorite isn't my most viral at all. You know what I'm
What's your
saying? I've had
favorite?
a lot more viral ones than Mario. But Mario's usually my go-to. Like if I
Omni
do a
Man, was
kids
that you or
event or
was
go
that
to a
one of the other
hospital.
Venture Bros?
Oh, go ahead, say it again.
I said Omni Man. Was that you or was that one of the other Venture Bros?
No, that's me. So my brother don't cosplay anymore. So my
Okay.
brother, after he graduated, what I'm saying, he gained some weight. So he didn't feel comfortable with cosplaying. And he
Right.
hasn't cosplayed since. He said he'll cosplay again once he loses the weight. So it's just been me holding it down for now, I
Is,
guess.
is Omni Man the most viral one?
So if so what I've learned is it's types of viral. So if we're talking about most notoriety viral, is definitely Omni-Man.
Right.
Because Omni-Man got shared by Amazon Prime,
Mhm.
Skybound Comics shared it. Um, let me think. Yeah, like one dude told me on the podcast before that when he went to Amazon on his television, I popped up. So
Oh,
I was like, whoa. I was like, okay,
go.
I'll take it. So yeah, that Invincible one really went crazy. That Omni Man one. It's got a ton of articles done on it. But if we're talking about like sheer numbers, like as far as like likes and shares, then right now it was Gojo when I did Gojo, but because I
Okay.
did Gojo like as soon as Jujutsu Kaisen dropped, so this was before everybody was doing it. So I did Gojo real quick. But what just beat out Gojo last year was when I did Hobie Spider Punk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Spider Punk
I
had the most
I
like that
figured
guy. Oh, go ahead.
I figured that was going to be it because your Hobie, I was just like, oh, he's got it down. I was like, the only way you could get more thorough than this was that Japanese dude who had himself looking at like black and gray and stuff, and I was like, I don't know about this. I was like,
That
I know what you're doing.
I was like, I don't know how I want to feel about this, but he had it to the T. But it was like the Anthony Mackie meme from
I remember
Yeah,
that.
from that show. Like he's out of line, But he's right.
Who's right?
Right.
Like
You gotta
he
laugh, but
on the
he
line,
wrong.
but he had that shit to the T. I was like, damn. I was like, that dude's good. You know what he's doing. It's out of line, but you know what he's doing. Mm-mm. Yeah, Hobie. So Hobie on Facebook had a total of 140,000 likes. So that one right now is the reigning champ for individual cosplay with likes.
And the
Um,
videos. You had fun with those videos.
those videos, yeah, those videos was going crazy, man. Like they was in the millions and shit. And like, so yeah, those really did well. Um, as far as like shares and stuff, and that's as far as shares combined with notoriety, it will be Uncle Iroh. That
Hmm.
Uncle Iroh,
Yeah.
Nickelodeon shared it. The new voice actor for Iroh, he shared it. Avatar Studios shared it, and like they don't just share it; they share it every time I do a different version of Iroh. So they
Nice.
stay on Iroh. You know what I'm saying? And like the Avatar community, man, they're sharing it all over the place. Like Yami, when I did Yami, that had 22,000 shares and was the top. But Iroh recently, when I did the Fire Nation version of Iroh, that ended up being 31,000 shares, beating it
Wow.
out. I was like, damn. So yeah, Iroh, that's been the heavyweight champ of everything combined since 2020 for like
I
my
like
cosplayers.
I like how I remember seeing your Iroh cosplay, and someone wrote an article about you're never too old to cosplay. I was like, he's not as old as you think he is.
Right, right. And you it's crazy because they'll see my picture when I would share it, because I even posted a side by side like before, I like edited and put on the like, white stuff on my beard and all that stuff. I even showed the before look side by side with it, and people still thought I was an old man. I'm like, all right. You know what I'm saying? I'll take it. Hey, shit. Uh-uh. Like they're not fooled by the granddad, but they fooled by the Iroh. You know what I'm saying? When I did granddad, everybody knew like, oh,
Yeah,
okay, Mr. Bro is wild. But when I did Uncle Iroh, nah, they be thinking I'm an old man.
yeah, your granddad. I was just like, oh my goodness, no, this man did not.
Do you
Yeah,
have
yeah.
do you have a cosplay plan next?
Oh yeah. So I plan on doing some of the dwarves in fantasy because Black Fade came up,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I've done like maybe 8 different versions of Link. So I've done elves a lot. And I've done nights a lot. So when Black Friday was coming up this year, I asked my fan base like, "Hey, what do you guys want to see me in?" I've done night 3 different years in a row for Black Friday. I've done Link, who's an elf, like 8 times. What do you guys want to see? And one girl was like, "You don't show any love to the dwarves," and I was like, "Damn, she right. I ain't never cosplayed a dwarf before." I was like, "Well, and I'm 6'2", so I was like, yeah, I'm kind of big for a fucking dwarf, you know what I'm saying? But I was like, you know what? I can make it work, especially since Friendrin and Beyond Journey's End came out, and they got
Yes.
a couple of
Yeah.
dwarves that are real cool. And then that show on Netflix, that anime Delicious and Dungeon, they got
Right,
Stinky,
So
who's a
much.
cool dwarf.
which just got
Oh,
greenlit for a second season.
yeah, 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 it did, yeah. So once I saw those dwarves, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do a couple of dwarves next. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna be my next. I'm gonna do like 3 or 4 dwarfs in a row. And I was like, show love. Because I don't never see, at least from black people, I ain't never seen no black person really cosplay a dwarf. I don't think we really resonate with like dwarves like that.
I think it's
So
a hype thing.
Wow, wow,
I think it
wow.
is too. They just too little. We don't really, black people, we big as hell. We tall as hell, so we don't really fuck with it. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do some dwarves. I'm gonna show them some love, especially because in that Lord of the Rings series, Rings of Power, they got a black dwarf. She's like the elf. I mean, she's the dwarf queen.
Yep.
Yeah, so what I'm saying, I ain't gonna cosplay her or nothing, but she is bringing black people to dwarves because of that. She's definitely the first black dwarf I ever seen.
This is true.
Right.
While
So yeah.
while we talk about Black Fantasy, be sure to check out our merchandise shop where we have orcs with attitude and let the dice decide designs up on the t-shirts, coffee mugs, and others.
Both very
let, the,
too
let
cool.
the dice let the dice decide. You know what I'm saying? That's why I think. Did you guys ever watch the Goblin Slayer?
Yes, of
So I
course.
didn't read the manga, but I
Ah,
watched it and I saw the guy rolling the dice, and then he got up. So I was like, "Is this somebody playing tabletop?" You know what I'm saying? When I saw the dice roll, I'm like, "Is somebody playing a tabletop or something?" Because I was like, "Yo," I was like, "That's what that means. If you were in a battle on the tabletop and shit, you get
Right.
that dice roll, it's the right one. Shit, you might be able to shoot a fireball, you might get a health boost, shit." So, but
Do you
yeah,
play
yeah.
tabletop?
Shit. When I was younger, I ain't gonna lie, I ain't played in about 20 years. But shit, back in the day, yeah, I fucked with it. I was big on Dungeons and Dragons. I definitely like Legend of the Five Rings. That was probably my favorite
ooh,
tabletop. Um, I liked let me think, what else? I want to say that's it for tabletop. And then I liked card games, of course. I liked Magic the Gathering.
Okay.
hmm Like Magic the
well,
Gathering, I didn't even realize it was still going strong. But one of
Still,
my boys told me, he was
still.
like, because I was at this con called Trading Card and Gaming Con, and I was a guest there. This was like um back in like I want to say February or March. But yeah, so I was guesting there, and they had a lot of Magic the Gathering fan base there, and I was like, damn, it's still popping like this. And they were like, yeah, the new expansion was just
Mhm.
created and all this. I'm like, damn. I
you
was like,
know
I
they
did
have a
not know
Lord of
that.
the Ring expansion.
Oh yeah, I did not know that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they have a Lord of the Ring expansion, and there really was only one ring. Some guy
Oh
in
wow.
Canada found it and sold it to Post Malone for 2 million.
Are you
Whoa,
serious? I didn't know about that.
Yeah,
oh shit.
Wow.
yeah.
Whoa.
Wow.
Because most, because
Black
Post
Black
Malone.
White Iverson? You talking about White Iverson?
First off, you can't be disrespecting Allen Iverson like that.
When he said
No,
that, I was like, wow.
that's what Post calls himself. I don't know why he does that shit, but that's what he calls
But
himself.
no, but
So you said
I
he
can't unsee
self-proclaimed?
it now.
He made that up?
He definitely made that shit up. I
Because
don't know why he calls
I
it
was like,
white
man, he don't look like a hooper, but all right.
Uh, yo, Post Malone has had like several different looks over his career. He
It-
looked like he looked like someone's rapper's cousin.
right.
Then he looks like a really wild car salesman. No, because at one point he was wearing these wild, loud suits, and I was like, "What are you about to sell me? A Thunderbird? What are you like?"
Because I really want to say, like, after that song, White Iverson, he really kept going back to white. Like, I never see him do like a black look again, or a hip hop look, or like urban fashion ever again.
This,
He really leaned into his rock persona.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like
yeah.
and even
Mhm.
his music, he really like stopped rapping and started like singing his music, his hooks and stuff like that.
See, yeah.
I'm not a fan of Post Malone. I don't even want to go
Yeah,
there.
because it feel like he did the Miley Cyrus thing, where it's like he used hip hop kind of to get into the
That's
music
exactly what he
industry.
did. That's exactly what he did.
And I hate when they do that. I hate when they do
He
that.
j- at least
Because
he
now
had the
Miley Cyrus even
decency.
saying she don't even listen to hip hop, and I'm like, bitch, you wouldn't
Yeah,
even have a career after your show if it wasn't for us.
Yep.
at least he never had the decency to try and drag hip hop through the mud the way Miley tried to.
Yeah, you're right.
Because
You're
I was
right.
like, bitch, wasn't you just wearing a Jordan set with a grill in your mouth? Were we
Yep.
not all in the same place?
Yeah, for real, for
That's,
real.
that's I talk about that all the time. I think people like that are fucking culture vultures.
Yeah, culture vultures for real.
But
You
none of them
know?
are. But none of them are as bad as Kid Rock. Anyway,
I
yeah, it's like, but
I
like,
thought you were about to say none of it as bad as Drake. I felt that
nah,
Drake coming. I was like, is he about to say Drake?
nah, because here's the no, because Drake Drake is Drake didn't listen to what his mentor told him in the beginning. Just be yourself.
Just be yourself. Wayne told you. Wayne said that's why he chose you. Ugh.
Kid Rock was like, "Yeah, I'm from Detroit." It's like, no, you're from the suburbs. Your parents are loaded. Like, what are you? It's like, what are you doing? Oh,
He
what?
used to try so hard to act like trailer trash. You ain't from that trailer.
Right,
Stop.
right,
I was like,
You wasn't poor.
right. At all.
Eminem. We know he's from the struggle. Why?
Right.
Because he still dresses like,
He from the
like,
struggle. He still just like he go to Marshalls. Like
Yep.
he still just like that. And and he ain't had nothing but black friends. See, that's how you could you be like, he ain't got nothing but black friends and all his old pictures, like, yeah,
eh,
all right. He's
plus,
from hood shit.
when you see his childhood photos, you can clearly see he used to get bullied.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you were bullied. It's okay. We like you.
Right, we fuck with you, you know what I'm
Are,
saying?
Stop saying nigga, but
Yeah, you can't say nigga, but you still you can come to the cookout. You can't sit at the inside, but you can still be here.
you can stay outside with the rest of the weed smokers because they can't smoke in my mama's house.
are you playing anything
Right.
right
But I think he's frozen. Oh, there we go.
Oh, am I
now? Are you
Uh,
frozen?
playing? Yeah,
no,
you
you're
for
not frozen now.
1 second.
I wanted to
Okay.
say, in Philadelphia we have a whole tabletop gaming convention.
Really?
Yeah,
Every
uh,
December, it's a part of the PAX line.
PAX Unplugged.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna look that up. Cause yeah,
Hey,
I did not know.
December.
listen. If you come on down, we'll show you around. We are like I'm start like listen. Montel Blurdycore, he came through last year and had a great time.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
you
up
talking about Uncle Nave.
Yeah.
Uncle Nave, yeah. So I do know a couple of Philly cosplayers. Um, like old girl that I did Granddad with, and she was Chardonnay, Jazz Berry. She's in Philly, I think. And
Yeah.
then Curtis, head nurse in charge, Curtis.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
hmm He the quote unquote king of Philly. I was like, nigga, yeah, right. But he's I'm the king of Philly. You're like, all
All
right.
righty.
That's what everybody's saying. They the king of some. All right,
yeah,
all right.
it's the same as Post calling himself White Iverson.
So you say
Crazy.
I ain't never say Venture Bros King of Chicago. I ain't
Right.
never claimed nothing like that. I ain't never say I was even the best out of Chicago as far as cosplayers. I still
You
get that crown to Papa Bear.
yeah.
Mm.
Papa
You
Bear is my mentor. He was the one who brought me in the cosplay game as far as how to cosplay and shit. So even though like in following wise and stuff, I surpassed him, but I still give him the crown. I still, he's best cosplayer of Chicago is Papa Bear.
All right. Uh,
are you claiming the best
that was
cosplayer
one
in
of my
Houston?
questions. So yeah.
I feel like a lot of people, they always want to be the best. And there's nothing wrong with being the best, but you could give props to your mentors. You could still, I saw that in the old Jet Li, well, not old. It was in that movie with Jet Li and Jackie Chan, the one
Oh, the Forbidden Kingdom.
Forbidden Kingdom, where the dude had asked him, "What are you gonna do with the elixir?" He said, "I need the elixir so I can save my master," who was Jackie Chan. And he said, "A man who honors his master honors himself."
Right.
And Papa Bear, like I said, he was the one who brought me in the cosplay game. He the one who showed me how the ropes, you know what I'm saying? And he was on back then, he had a sci-fi channel commercial, about his cosplaying journey.
That's
So
good.
for him
So,
to have even shown me when I ain't had no following or nothing. Nobody knew who Venture Bros was. For him to have taken me under his wing like that, I always show props and respect to that. It's like, hey, the best out of Chicago, Papa Bear. You know. Now, if we're talking about cosplay in a whole, as far as like black people, I'll say the best cosplayer in my eyes would probably be Night Mage. Because I,
hell
I,
yeah.
I,
Hell
I like.
yeah.
I'm not going to front about like it's certain things that Night Mage does that I will never do, and I'll admit that. Like I'm never going to dress like a woman. So,
Gender
Frankenfurter.
bender.
huh?
Frankenfurter. Dr. Frankenfurter.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
The gender bands, right?
The
Yeah, the
old
gender
school
bend.
Laura Croft
Well, they're
Tomb
not
Raider.
even gender bends because a gender bend will be me doing a male version of that woman character.
Okay,
Right.
He
right,
dresses like Chun Li. He
right,
dresses like
right,
Laura Croft. And I'm
right.
not I'm not knocking that. It's just something that I will never do. You ain't never gonna catch me dressed like a woman.
Yeah.
So I will say there are avenues in cosplay that I won't go that he goes. So I'll
Right.
give him the crown. I'll say, hey, he'll do things I won't.
He's
So I'll
he's
give him
not
the
he
crown.
is not
Shout
afraid
out
to
to
lean
Dr.
into it.
Nightmare.
Right.
Shout
So
We
out
had him on the show. We had him on the
several
show,
times.
and he did the show from his pool.
who, Nightmare?
Yeah.
Yes. He
Oh
did the show
wow.
from his pool.
Hey man, hey, that's a big money dude, man. So, he a sheriff. That's a sheriff. You know what I'm saying? Um, then I want to say, then I'll probably say I'm right after Nightmares. Then I'll say after me is probably Woe Chris. You know, but
Who?
that's how I do that. Woe Chris. He's one of
Okay.
the new young up and comers, man. He coming at it hard too. He coming hard. So he's one of the young cats. He's killing the game right now. You know.
Okay.
But I think a lot of people, man, when they compare cosplays, like when they want to rank themselves, a lot of people, man, they get wrapped up wanting to be number one. Me, hey, if I'm one of the goats, I'm cool with being one of the goats. You know what I'm
And
saying?
besides, it's the people that supposed to give you the crown, not
Right.
you. I mean,
That
the
right
people
there.
that give
That
you the
right
crown.
there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Comment come who's the best MC, Biggie, Jay Z, or Nas? The people say like it's this MC or it's this cosplay.
exactly. Because a
And
lot
I
of people, if you talk to a lot of people, especially the ones who say I'm the best, they'll start trying to trash talk Nightmares because he don't work with a lot of black people when it comes to cosplay.
mm,
So I always say, like, look, you don't know if a lot of black people's around him, and you don't know who he's comfortable with.
right,
So let him do what he does. You know what I'm saying? We not. It's not about bashing somebody and the way their methods are, unless it's hurting someone. But if it's
right.
not hurting someone, don't bash his methods. You know what I'm saying? We all doing this to have fun. If that's his comfort level and his fun, the cosplay who he cosplays with, let him. You know. So,
And shout out to Nightmares, man, because he when he gets called out to the cons to like do his thing,
mhm.
like he donates that money, like he don't even keep that money.
Yeah, yeah. Because I saw when he made the president's list. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? He got
Right.
that, for doing community service. Like part of the reason why me and Papa Bear had created Chicago PLC Cosplayers back when I was living in Chicago, we created that because we wanted to work with the kids in Chicago who were nerds who wanted to get into cosplay. And we were like, okay, we're going to teach them the ropes. We're going to teach them how to build, how to take pictures, how to edit their pictures. We're going to teach them all that. And
right.
so that's why we created it.
That's dope.
We luckily had the opportunity to work, at some of the children's hospitals like St. Jude's and, what I'm saying, Rush Hospital and work with terminal ill kids. So we only would do that maybe like 3-4 times a year, you know what I'm saying, as far as the hospitals. So I know how fulfilling that made me. For
Shout out
Nightmare, that year
to
when he did over 100 community service hours, like at volunteering at the kids' hospitals, I was like, man, that's, what I'm saying, you can't, that's undeniably
Hmm.
special, So, I think a lot of people, if we just uplifted each other, I think that would go such a long way. Because if you look at the white side, you know what I'm saying, they're working together.
yes,
They're
yeah,
lifting each other up. You know what I'm saying? They are boosting each other all the time. I see it. Like you see Leon Chiro, who's one of the big white cosplayers. You see Maul cosplay, who's probably the biggest white cosplayer. They're working together and they're like making waves together. And I'm like, we can do that. We just gotta be willing to work together.
Willing
You
to
know.
work together.
Mhm.
Salon.
and not bashing each other. You know what I'm saying? It's no need for that because there's some big cosplayers out there. I ain't gonna mention no names, but they be bashing other cosplayers, and this is like, yo, why you doing that? You know what I'm saying? Why you feel the
Right,
need to bash somebody's cosplay, man? Let them learn, let them grow. It's nothing wrong because your first one wasn't the best. You know what I'm
right,
saying? I was fortunate. My first cosplay was Killer Bee, so my first one did go viral. But I was fortunate in that. My second cosplay was Luke Cage, and that didn't do shit. You know what I'm saying? Nobody shared that Luke Cage one. A lot of people don't even know I did that one. But that Killer Bee went by. So it's like, let people grow, let them find themselves in it. Cosplay might not be for them. They might not be doing it to be the best. They
right,
doing it just for fun.
Yeah,
Let people
because
do
I
it.
definitely do it just for fun. I don't think I
Mhm.
could. I'm like, listen. like comic boss, you already know I be doing a lot, so I don't have the time to fine tune my cosplay the way I really want it to be.
Hmm.
But I put improvements piece by piece.
Yeah,
And,
no,
and the things that I be seeing y'all like go through, like you, like I didn't even recognize that was you doing Omni Man. I ain't even recognize it. I like when came like where the rest of the Adventure Bros at? I didn't even know that it was just you because a lot of y'all like Night Mage like disappear in your cosplays.
yeah, 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 yeah,
And like I'm like, man, that had to take so much time and dedication. I don't even know if I have that and had that
yeah.
in me to do that. But I'm a fan up close. Every time I see one of y'all,
Mhm.
Julius cosplay, he was just here.
Oh yeah, Sir Julie.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's
I'm a
good.
fan of bro.
He was gonna do. I was gonna say he was number four. I
Yeah,
was gonna say he was up and coming, really tough. Yeah.
tough. Like I'm a
Um.
huge fan of you guys.
Yeah, man. Like, and I appreciate that. And like with me, so I try to do a lot of characters. I'll do popular characters sometimes, but either I'll try to do them way before anyone else does them, or I'll try to do characters that aren't really done a lot. That's what motivated me to do the Granddad and the Uncle Iroh. Like with the dwarves. If I don't see nobody doing it, then I'll be like, okay, I like this character. Nobody fucking with it, man. That's got my name written all over it. I'm gonna try to do it. And
Nice.
like with when I first started, one thing I did was buff characters a lot because I was so big. So I was like, okay, I'm starting to lose a little bit of weight, and everybody thinking I can only do buff characters. I think it was Hey J Cosplay. She's a good friend of mine, and she was like,
Shout out to AJ
she was like,
cosplay.
just keep, huh?
I say shout out to AJ cosplay.
Yeah, yeah, Hey J
Hmm.
Cosplay. She's a good girl, yeah, man. So Jay, she was like, and I met her before I joined the nerd community because she's Greek. So I'm a Kappa and she's a Delta. So I've
I
known her for
knew it.
years before, I even knew she was a nerd and shit like that. But she was like, yeah, just keep doing buff characters and you'll be good. And I was like,
You could
that
do
rubbed
more.
me the wrong way. I was like, damn, is she trying to put me in a fucking box right now? So I was like, okay. I was like, all right, that's what motivated me to do Uncle Iroh. I was like, I don't see nobody doing old characters like that. So I was like, I'm gonna make a lane and start doing some old characters. So I did Uncle Iroh, you know what I'm saying? I did Leroy Smith, I did Granddad. Shit. I started doing all types of Gran Torino from My Hero Academia. So I started doing the old characters. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna start my own lane for it. Then when Cece said CC the Geek, she was like, oh, she was like, you always trying to do either a buff character or somebody's granddad. I was like, damn, she put me in a box. So I told you, I don't like feeling like that. I don't like feeling limited. So I was like, okay. I was like, you know what? I've lost about 80 pounds. I was like, let me see, let me see what happened if I start doing pretty boy characters. Anime is completely tailored to pretty ass niggas. Like
Yes,
if
it
you
is.
skinny and you ain't got no facial hair, shit, that's you could do so many main characters in anime. So I was
Hmm.
like, all right, I was never skinny. As far as when I was cosplaying, I was never skinny. But I was like, I lost 80 pounds. Let me see what happens if I start doing smaller characters. So first I did Ishiki Senpai from Food Wars.
Right.
That shit went viral.
Nice.
Then once I did Ishiki Senpai, I was like, okay, then I was reading JJK before they dropped the first episode. So when they were about to drop the first episode, I was like, okay, let me see what happens when I do Gojo. So that's when I did Gojo, like when they dropped the first episode. So that was before anybody, at least any Americans, even among the white people and Americans, nobody had done Gojo yet. So when they dropped it, I had dropped it the same day and did Gojo. Man, that shit
Mhm.
took off and went crazy. It was about
Smart.
20 articles done on that Gojo cosplay I did. Like that shit went crazy. And I was like, holy shit. And I didn't think any cosplay I would have done would have caught up with Iroh. But that Gojo had passed Iroh in likes and everything. I was like, what? I was like, this is crazy. And like I told you, for the longest, I didn't do a lot of like skinny pretty boy characters because I didn't feel like I fit that aesthetic at all. So
Right.
I was like, no, I was like, I can't do Gojo. But I was like, you know what? I lost 80 pounds. Fuck it. I'll do it. See what happens. Cool. and
Okay.
it worked out. So like that's one thing that like really drives me is when I feel like people think I'm limited, then I'm like, okay, I gotta exceed that, And I gotta get that to my mom's, man, because my mom's I didn't really tell her I was cosplaying and stuff, and she would just like see posts of this guy cosplaying that looked like me, and then she'll be like, "Is this you, Rob?" And my middle name is Robert, so my mother would be like, "Is this you, Robbie?" And I was like, yeah, that's me. Who showed you that? And she was like, it came on my Facebook. And I was like, oh, it went that viral. She was like, how long have you been doing this? I was like, a couple of years now. And then she was like, why have you shown me? And at that point in time, I had been in magazines, I had been on the news, I had been in newspapers. And she was like, you didn't give me a copy of any of that stuff. So she was so pissed off, man. So I was like, dang. I was like, I'm going to send you all this stuff. I didn't know you'd be interested in it. My bad. So I had got real mad. So I had got real mad. I did Gojo. Then next thing I know, like a lot of people started doing Gojo or whatever. And
Hmm.
I was like, hey man, I was like, every time I do something that go viral, people just start doing the same cosplay. I was like, I can't never do not one cosplay where it's like a character that I do. Cause even after I did Iroh, then I start seeing a bunch of people do Iroh. And I was like, man, this just pisses me off. And my mother was like, she was like, well, she said this real good too. She was like, well, you're a real creative person. So just create another one. I was like, create another what? She was like, create another like super viral cosplay. I was like,
Right.
you can't just create super viral cosplays left and right. I was so mad at her. I was like, you can't just create a masterpiece back to back like that. I was like, that's not how it works. But taking her advice and just dipping back in the bag and like really trying for it, it
Hmm.
worked. So that's when I started doing like Tokyo Avengers characters, especially season 1. I did
I
Hanma,
like the
you
fucking
know,
revenge cosplays.
yeah,
Yeah.
man. So I started doing the Tokyo Avengers cosplay. I did Hanma, I did Baji, and those were going crazy. Like every time I did somebody, Kizaki, whenever I did somebody from Tokyo Avengers, that shit was going off. So it was like, and my mother at this point, she's following. So she knows when things are going viral. And so when like 4 things went viral in a row, that's when I had to hear it then. Like, well, you said that you just couldn't go viral like that. And now your last 4 cosplays went viral after that Gojo. So like, yeah.
You was giving
Um,
her the Kanye treatment. Like, you don't know what you're talking about, Sway. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're doing. I gotta admit, Sway had the answers.
Yeah.
Sway had the answers. You know what I'm saying? Sway had the answers.
And I was gonna say that's also something that makes Nightmage stand out. He doesn't just do what's popular; he does things that resonate with him.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Cause like
Definitely.
I'm like, no one was asking for a Judge Dredd cosplay.
Nope.
No one was looking for a Debo cosplay.
Bro. This nigga did Gizmo.
Yeah.
Right, right,
Like I saw that
right.
shit. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, who is this nigga? I'm like, yo, Gizmo to do Gizmo Duck. I'm like, bro, I was like, bro, to even have the thought of doing that is just
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
yo, that's
What
why I said, that's why I give him his props. Like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Nightmares would be
I'm
number 1 in
saying.
my book, man. Cause
So I would
That's
see
why.
your cosplays. I'd be like, I'm just
just
admiring from afar because that shit look insane.
That's why. That's why I was so happy to have him be our first interview for our magazine. Remember?
mhm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cause if
Oh
you
man.
because if you check out like X-Men 97, I was wondering what he was gonna do because
Yeah.
he already did all the characters. Like that's how deep his closet go. He did all the characters. So I was
Right.
like, when I was waiting for. I'm like, I wonder what he's gonna do for X-Men 97. And all I saw was characters he already did. He already did Mr. Sinister.
Yeah.
You
You
know what I'm
already did
saying? He already
Magneto.
did Magneto. You know what I'm saying? He's done like all these characters already. So I'm like, he did Gambit, did Wolverine. So I'm like, shit. So yeah, man. His closet goes deep because I've done I've done over 100 cosplays, maybe about 120,
Nice.
110. But yeah, man, he's past the 100 mark. Him and I want to say Smoke. They've
The
done the
smoke.
Ah.
most
Yeah.
the most
Down
cosplays
for
I think
smoke.
I've ever seen. You know, I don't think
Mhm.
I've seen anybody do as many as them two. You know.
It's wild. But listen,
Mhm.
we're up. We are actually past time for today.
What do
But
you
I
think?
figured
but
because I saw it
but
at 114. I was like, oh,
but,
are we
but
laughing?
I definitely would love to have you come back.
Oh yeah, of course.
Uh,
And,
this
and we have a quarterly magazine that we put out called Amerime Wire.
Oh, okay.
I definitely want you to be in that. So I'll be sending you like 5 to 8 questions. You just figure them out, and we go back and forth until your comments finish. Because I definitely want to like go further into this.
Hey,
mm,
hey, definitely, definitely.
but what's the next con you're headed to?
So the next one I'm going to is BlurCon. We got a couple of cosplay groups there. That should be good. I'm hosting one of the after party pool parties there,
Hey,
and then after
We're
that,
supposed to be going, but I don't know what's going on.
oh damn, you don't know what's going on. It's
We
almost
filled
crunch time.
it's
we filled out for the press applications, and
Oh, yeah,
it's
BlurCon.
oh,
yeah.
BlurCon, you know, they got their struggles. You know, hopefully they could get you guys like tell you guys what's going on in time before it's like too close to the con. You know.
I hope.
Yeah. And then
But
after that one, oh, go ahead, my bad.
no. Please go.
Oh, so then after that is DreamCon, of course. You know, so
Mm,
DreamCon, DreamCon had me as a guest there in 2022, and after that, I've gone every year because they hook me up with a badge every year. You know what I'm saying? They always show me much love. And then for the after parties last year, I was hosting the Baddie Bash with Black Girl Nerds. And
Okay.
then this year I'm hosting the cruise party after party for Sunday, and that's gonna be with WaifuCon.
Nice.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
cool.
Yep. So
I
yeah,
mean,
DreamCon and BlurCon my next two. The Black Cons my next two.
DreamCon, that's the one in Texas, correct?
Yeah, Austin. Yeah, that's the one who reached 22,000 people last year.
Right.
22,000 black nerds,
Yeah.
man. Not a fight
It,
breaking out. No fights, no rapes. You know what I'm
I
saying?
think
22,000. Hey, that's
I think
it was
DreamCon
quite the bump.
yeah,
I
man.
think DreamCon help put the nail in E3.
Oh yeah,
Really?
yeah. They didn't even want to compete this year. They was like, look, we'll switch our dates because
They done.
uh-uh.
Yeah,
They
E3 is just
good.
dead. But
Yeah.
seriously, we want to thank Venture Bros for coming out today on the Amerime Junkies podcast. We hope you guys had a good time listening to this.
This is
And
a
for you
good one.
folks out on YouTube, we hope you've enjoyed everything we were talking about here. Of course, the comment section is always open. Have at it. We do take a look.
Yes, we do. We will find all comments. All comments. You got a question for Venture Bros? Let us down below, and we'll send it over to him and let him make some videos respond to your comments. So let us know.
Yeah,
And
let me know.
of course, we have some new articles up on AmerimeMedia.com. Please be sure to check them out. And of course, make sure you're subscribed to Amerime Media, and make sure you're hitting that bell button so you can get alerted on anything and everything from Amerime Media. For you podcast listeners, we hope you guys enjoyed listening today. I hope you downloaded it. And please let us know what you think. That feedback is oh so crucial.
Yes, very important. All
Comic
right.
Boss, it was always it's a pleasure. Venture, it has been really fun.
Hey, appreciate you guys for having me, man.
We'll be checking you guys out next time. This is the Amerime Junkies podcast.